So you want to offer something as an option. So it's out of their own choice to pick. But at the same time, giving your title and influence and gravitas, and I want to make sure that they look good to you, there's gravity towards that option. When it's offered, it's not really a free choice, so to speak, even though when the come from place, when you offer it, it is. How do you?
It's a really good one. This is such an interesting conversation because we have so many wounds of hierarchy.
Hmm.
Humanity is hierarchically wounded.
Hmm.
You look back at the last 10,000 years, and it's been people in positions of power generally exploiting people below them,
Hmm.
creating cultures of authority based on fear, not trust.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not going to trust you because you're my leader, because you're my emperor, because you're my boss, because I trust you.
Hmm.
I'm going to do what you say because I fear you and because you have the power. And so I think that we have to recognize that we're the inheritors of all of these patterns. We're the inheritors of all of history. Like, the present moment didn't just spontaneously arise of its own accord. It is a sedimentary collection of every past experience. And most of that is just a random collection. It's like a bird that goes and builds the nest out of all the cigarette butts and random pieces of plastic and twigs and everything else. And some of it's good and some of it's not good. We have a lot of beauty in our history, and we have a lot of terror and trauma and pain that still lives inside of us. And so when a well-meaning founder like me makes an invitation, you have to understand that there is that inherent suspicion of authority.
Hmm.
There's an inherent, like, okay, well, shit, is my job dependent on
Hmm.
this?
Hmm.
And so I think that that's part of what we need to do as organizations is we need to start healing some of that. We need to create cultures that are built on trust.
Okay, so
Cultures and how we do that, right? Is it's
right,
like, if the old model is like master and servant, and I'm the
right.
boss and you're my employee,
You do
you
what I
work for
say,
me.
don't question it. Yeah.
You serve me.
Hmm.
And it's kind of as simple and as complex as me realizing that I work for my people.
Hmm.
Like, I am in service of them.
Hmm.
They don't work the 200 people in the company, 15.5, don't work for me so that I can make a bunch of money. And, like, inherently, I will benefit way more financially than my employees.
Hmm.
And we don't like to talk about that, right? We usually are like, oh, let's not go there. But the truth is that, like, I have more equity. I will make a lot more money than they do.
Hmm.
And all the more reason for me to make sure that, like, I am doing everything in my power to actually be of service to them, to really come from it. And I mean, I think servant leadership is a beautiful model. We call this best self management,
Hmm.
where we're actually managing in a way that people become better versions of themselves. And so when you flip that polarity of you work for me to, oh no, I'm actually your servant.
Hmm.
Like, I have an incredible executive assistant. Shout out to Sydney.
Hmm.
And she's amazing, but I work for her. I'm in service to her. And you know what happens?
What happened?
She then becomes in service to me. Like, our people, like, we have a much higher retention than the average 200 person SaaS company.